2.6, we started it. We did quadratic formula to find the x-intercepts, the zeros, right? Okay, and then there is a part of the quadratic formula that will just tell you whether there's going to be one real solution, two real solutions, or two non-real solutions, or two imaginary solutions, whatever you want to call them. Okay, so the discriminant of a quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, so you have to set it equal to 0, is what determines how many roots in the value of, and is the value of the radicand. So b squared minus 4ac. What's the radicand then? What part of that quadratic formula is that?
That's
under the square root.
Under the square root. A radicand is what's under a square root. Whether it's a square root, actually it's what's under a radical. That's why it's called a radicand. A radical being, it could be square root, 20th root, any root. The radicand is what is underneath the root. So a discriminant is the b squared minus 4ac. If b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, there are two real roots. Roots are another word for, guess what? Solutions. If b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0, there is one real solution. And if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0 is what kind of a number? Negative.
Number.
So when I take a square root of a negative number, is that a real solution? No. So that's why there are two non-real solutions or just no real solution. That means it doesn't intercept the x-axis. That's a parabola that has moved up off the x-axis that opens up. We've talked about that, right? Or it moves down from the x-axis and opens down. Okay? It is possible not to touch the x-axis. So over here are just pictures, guys. You don't have to write all this down on the right. It's just a picture. Okay? So if I had something like x squared minus 7x plus 3, no problem.
So 1.
I was just wondering if the student additional practice.
What your assignment is today.
Okay.
Okay, so this is 49 minus 24. So 49 minus 24 would be a positive answer, yes? And there would be two real solutions. Are there two real solutions on this picture? Yeah, I didn't even ask what the number was. I just said it's positive, correct? Okay, on the next one, I have 4x squared plus 12x minus 9. The radicand would be 144 minus 144, so it'd be 0. So that means there is one solution. Okay, because we're taking the square root of 0, that would be positive or negative 0. So technically it's called a double 0, and the graph bounces at that point. So the graph comes down, hits the x-axis, and goes right back up. Okay? So then here, I have x squared plus 2x plus 8. I do it, I get negative 28. Well, that's a negative answer. It's less than 0. It's imaginary, so there are no real roots. There are no real solutions.
2 non-real.
So there's two non-real solutions. So there's no real, but there are two non-real, and it's negative I plus or minus square root of 7i. I hate that they wrote that wrong. Okay.
Yeah, they had that in the book.
I know, and that is so not right. So we need to remember these three things. I will tell you, unless something asks you, you're probably going to just solve it and then say there's one real solution, two real solutions, or no real solutions, right? But today they do ask you specifically, and you just use your discriminant. Okay, so it says describe the nature of the solutions for each equation. So I have 16x squared plus 8x plus 1. So we need to know if there's going to be two real, one real, or no real. And no real means two non-real, right? Okay, those are your only options. There are no other options besides those three. Okay, so we are going to use what to do so?
Quadratic formula.
We're going to use the radicand of the quadratic formula, which is the discriminant, which is what?
Negative b. Wait.
B squared
B squared minus 4ac. The radicand is the discriminant, is what is under the radical. That's all we're using. We're not using anything else. So, b is what?
B B is
Eight. So 8 squared minus 4 times
16
times 1. So that's 64 minus 64.
Yep, so you have one.
So I have
one.
1 real solution. That's it.
How many, like, I don't know how to think this. How many equations are we gonna have to go for the test?
Well, that's part of the quadratic formula. Every equation you have is part of the quadratic formula. Like the vertex. When I find the x value of the vertex, what is that? Negative b over 2a?
Yeah.
Isn't that part of the quadratic
Yeah.
formula? Okay. B squared minus 4ac,
Yeah.
is that part of the quadratic formula? Yeah. You will need to know vertex form and completing the square to get there. But everything you need to know, we've done over and over and over. You need to put your masks on right, please, Elena. You need to put your water bottle down and put yours up.
Taking a drink.
It's not a bottle.
For the last half hour.
You've had it in your mouth the whole class period. Okay, so I have 2x squared minus 5x plus 6.
Wow.
So I'm just using the discriminant. What is the discriminant?
So b squared
B
minus
squared
minus
4ac. So
B is 5.
b is
25.
negative 5
Squared.
squared minus 4 times 2 times 6.
Which
So
is
25
minus
minus 48.
So no real solution.
So it's negative. And I really don't even need to finish, right?
Right.
So there is 2 non-real solutions, meaning there are no real solutions. And I'm going to tell you what you're typically going to write is no solution. But that's not a correct statement. The correct statement is there is no what? Real solutions. There are solutions, they're just not real. Yes.
If we were to forget to put real on the test, how many points off would that be?
That's probably a point.
1 point? Okay.
Because before, about 2 weeks ago, your world was either it was real or not, like it was just a solution or not a solution. But now you know the imaginary numbers, and then they are solutions as well. So it's non-real or real solutions. So you need to incorporate that now and forever. Okay. So Rachel is about to serve and tosses the tennis ball straight up into the air. The height h of the ball in meters at time t in seconds is given by h of t equals negative 5t squared plus 5t plus 2. Will the ball reach the height of 4 meters? Well, first of all, what kind of a parabola is that?
It goes down.
It opens down. Why does it open down?
Because the ball being thrown. Because the first thing is negative.
Right. Well, and you throw a ball up and it comes back
Nope,
down.
mine flies.
Okay. So if I want to know if the ball is going to reach 4 meters, well, it would be helpful to know what of the parabola? The vertex or the max, yes? Okay. If the peak is above 4 meters, is the ball going to reach at least 4 meters?
Yep.
Yes. If it's below 4 meters, is it going to
No.
reach 4 meters?
No.
Now, I'm going to tell you the book is going to solve this problem a different way, but I look at it going, why would I do more work when all I have to do is find that maximum, find that vertex?
Yeah.
Okay. How do we find the x of the vertex?
Quadratic function.
No, the first part of the quadratic function,
Negative b.
negative b over 2a. That gives me the x, right? Or in other words, the t in this situation, t for time, right? And then how will I find the h?
Plug it in.
Plug it back into the equation, right? Okay, so what's b?
B is
5, so it's negative 5 over 2 times negative 5.
So 5
5 over negative 10, which is
A half, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in a half a second, it's going to reach its max height. Seems positive. like, that's what's gonna happen, right? When I serve the ball, it's gonna reach the top and come down and hit it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now I need to find the height, which is basically the y of the vertex, right? By plugging it back in. So I have -5 times 1/2 squared plus 5 times 1/2 plus 2. Well, 1/2 squared is what? 1/4. So it'd be -5/4, right? Plus
5/2.
5/2, but I need it to be 4.
So 10/4.
10/4 plus
2.
2/1, but I need it to be 4. 8/4. So my maximum height is going to be what? C. 10 minus 5 is 5 plus 8 is
3/4.
so 13/4. So 4 goes into 13, 3, and then put a decimal, right? With 1 left over. 4 goes into 10,
2 times.
2 with what left over? 2, and 4 goes into 20,
5 times.
5 times. We did long division, short way, right? So what's the max height this ball reaches?
3.25.
3.25 meters. Is it ever going to reach 4?
No.
No. Now, the book would set that equal to 4 and see if it was true or not true. Did I need to do that?
No.
No. Now it says, according to the model Rachel served, will the ball reach a height of 3 meters?
Yeah.
Yes. It will reach and exceed, yes?
Wait a second, you have to explain.
Yes.
3.25.
The ball will reach a height of 3 meters.
And my explanation is here, yes?
Yeah.
This is my answer, but if I show my work, that's my explanation. I don't have to spell it all out. So, when you're asked today, they have like 200. Well, you guys square 200. Can you square 200?
Well, yeah.
What's 2 times 2?
It's 40,000.
4 with 4 zeros, right? So that'd be 40,000. You know half of 40,000, yes?
Yes.
Yes. So you don't need a calculator just because somebody's like, oh, it's a decimal, I need a calculator. No, you don't. Okay. So what's the decimal like? 0.5 would be 1/2, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
When you see some decimals, you should immediately know their fraction and be able to do that. So you don't need a calculator just to see your decimal. Okay. Now, what values of b will cause 2x squared plus bx plus 18 to be 0? Oh, excuse me, equal 0 to have one real solution.
I
So
got
the
it.
first slide that we did,
Yeah.
when it has one real solution, what does what equal?
Equals 0.
What equals 0?
The
The what thing is that word?
Variable.
Radicand.
No, with the radicand, but what other word are they going to use?
Radical.
Discriminant.
Discriminant.
The discriminant, the radicand, which is what?
B
B squared minus 4ac.
Is going to equal what?
0.
0. So all I have to do is plug in and see what values equal 0, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we don't know b, so we're going to have b squared minus 4 times what? 2 times what? 18. Okay, so 4 times 2 is 8. So 8 times 8 is
8 times 8 is 16.
64.
Carry the 6.
So then 8 and 4 is 14.
144.
Checks out.
So I have b squared minus 144 equals 0.
Yes, ma'am.
So I need to do what now?
Add the 144.
Add the 144. Do what we've been doing, right? And then
Square root.
square root.
Square is
12. B equals 12.
No, it does not.
Fine.
Plus or minus 12.
Oh, okay.
12 is wrong, correct?
Yes.
Ah.
12 is wrong.
Plus or minus.
It should be plus or minus.
Square root.
Yes. So, at or negative 12, that's where this is going to have one real solution if I put positive or negative 12 in for that b. That's what it says. Okay? Now this one says what values of b will cause 5x squared plus bx plus 5 to equal 0, not cause it to equal 0. They have two real solutions. So two real solutions means the discriminant is what?
Positive.
Positive. So greater than 0?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to have b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. We need to know when that happens. So b squared, right? Minus 4 times 5 times 5. So 25 times 4 is 100. So b squared minus 100 equals 0.
So it has to at least be
So-
over 100.
b squared greater than 100. Okay, so we know that b plus or minus 10, but it doesn't equal, correct?
No.
We need to think about this in terms of a number line. Okay? So we have negative 10 and we have 10. So possible solution sets, it could be in between here, correct?
Yes.
Which would be negative 10 is less than b, which is less than 10, correct?
Yes.
Or it could be out here, yes? And that would be b is less than negative 10 or b is greater than 10. So it's going to be one of those two solutions, correct? And I wrote that so small because I set it in between there. So all we need to do is test numbers. In the blue area, it would be the blue, if it's true, correct?
Yeah.
Or in the red area, if it's true, to decide. So a number, because it's positive or negative, yes, and we're going to square it, so we only have to pick one number. So a number that is false less than 10 or greater than 10.
14.
14. Everyone good with 14?
12.
Do you know 14 squared?
Yeah.
196. Okay? You might want to choose 11. I hope you know 11 squared.
No, 12.
Okay, or 12. But you should know 14 squared is 196. Okay, so if I plug this in here, if I put 196 minus 100, is that greater than 0?
Yes.
Yes. So this would be my answer for two real solutions, yes? Okay, so this right here would be my answer for two real solutions. The question on the paper asks you for one real solution, two real solutions, and two non-real solutions. Okay, so but you're going to do the same problem. Like you're going to do one problem and you're going to have two numbers, like the two numbers you decide. So what would this right here be? Let's test something. Between negative 10 and 10.
That would be,
5?
Be a negative.
Okay, so then it would be 25 minus 100. So that's negative.
Negative
So-
75.
So there's two non-real
non-real
solutions. So this would be two non-real solutions. So I didn't solve the problem any differently, did I?
No.
I just tested my answers differently. So what if you wanted to use the same equation right here and wanted one solution?
what I would think that you'd use 10.
It would just be this, correct?
Plus or
Yeah.
minus.
So all we're doing is using that discriminant and solving. Not too bad, is it? Okay. So you have a worksheet today. You have plenty. The back is empty, so if you want to work on the back, I personally have all my work on the front. Nice and pretty. But some of you aren't as neat as writers as I am.